So what brought you in today?
I wanted to talk to you about an issue I'm having with my parents. They've been divorced for, at least 12 years now, and I've got this problem that I want to talk to them about. It's about, like, post-college financial planning and things. Something that I'm not too familiar with, but
Yeah.
I know them being adults, they're pretty familiar with that stuff, and I'd love to get them in the same room to help kind of walk me through it. But they don't really like being around each other since they're divorced, and they've never really been able to be too civil towards one another, and it makes it hard for me to try and get help with something from my parents.
Do you think having someone there to maybe mediate the conversation would help?
I mean, it's possible, and I've tried that before in a way. Like, me and my brother and my sister, we've all kind of tried to sit down with them and even try and arrange a meeting where we can all be there.
Yeah.
And they don't want to do it. They want nothing to do with each other, and it makes it hard because they're both our parents, and we don't want to pick sides, but they make it hard for us to try and get them to be together.
And is this like a concern that you've expressed to them before?
I've tried to. Most of the time when I bring it up to them, they are pretty short and they kind of just try to brush it off and avoid the topic, which in a way, I get it. You know, they're not married anymore. They've been divorced for a lot of time, and, you know, who would want to talk about their ex, especially one that they were married to? But again, we're their children and we need their help, so you would think that they would be able to put their differences aside for us.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to go anywhere.
Yeah. Do you think maybe meeting at like a neutral location instead of like one of their homes might help, or like having a conversation over the phone?
See, I've thought about that, but what I'm scared of, or what I'm worried about mostly, is going to somewhere public and having like a scene happen, and then it would be, one, really embarrassing, and two, it just wouldn't be good for, I feel like, anyone there involved. I mean, if it's that toxic, I don't want to try and initiate something like that.
Yeah.
Just for myself.
Do you think maybe talking about the issue with them separately and seeing like what ideas they can come up with, and then going back to them as you need for more ideas?
Not necessarily. I mean, I could do that, sure. But what I ultimately feel like I need for this is to have a conversation with both of my parents at the same time, so that I'm not hearing one side and then trying to relay it to the other, and vice versa. I'd much rather just have a conversation and have it all out there on the table and just talk about it.
Like, what kind of conflict are you most worried about with them being in the same room?
Yelling, trying to like put each other down with like pettiness, I guess, just because of like all of the stuff that's happened. I don't want to have it be just a petty incident where it's not really much is getting done except the others throwing insults at each other, and at that point it wouldn't be worth anyone's time.
Yeah, that can be a really difficult situation to be in.
Yeah.
You know, would they, if you like reminded them, like if you got them for a meeting and you just started reminding them when they did get a little, you know, passive aggressive, do you think that they would tone it down, or do you think that their initial thing is to just be defensive?
I definitely think their initial thing is to be defensive, that's for sure. I mean, that's the whole reason why I'm here right now, is because I can't get them to get past the defensive stage.
Yeah.
I do think it's possible. I don't know what it would take for them to sit down for their kids' sake. I think I've thought about maybe each of them talking with someone about their problems with the whole divorce, and maybe then they could come to peace with it, and then progress could be made. But I mean, I don't feel like it's my place to tell my parents, hey, go talk to somebody so that we can talk. But at the same time, that's what I want. Does that make sense?
That sounds reasonable, because it's something that's affecting you as their child. I think requests like that would make sense. You know, do you think your step-parents might be able to help out there?
I think In a way, yeah. I mean, both of my step-parents, my stepdad and my stepmom, they've been extremely supportive, and I have no problems with them. It's just I know when it comes to the divorce, they try not to get too deep into it. I guess and I understand this and I respect it. I don't think they want to cross any boundaries, because we're not their kids, and while I love them both, they're not my parents. So I don't know how deep they want to get into the issue and not feel like they're stepping on anyone's toes.
Yeah, that's understandable. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. I really appreciated you letting me talk.
Anytime.
Thank you.